So I asked you for any topics that you wanted me to cover during this season, and one of you asked about to cloud or not to cloud, that being the question. This one's for you guys. So to cloud or not to cloud, i.e. should we be adopting the cloud as standard within our organisations, or are there information security risks that stop us from doing so? Now, I don't look at this as a technology issue at all. I don't see the cloud as a technology problem that we need to address. I see this primarily as a risk problem, unsurprisingly. Now, the thing with something like the cloud is that you shouldn't be looking at it from the perspective of how risky it is to do something, i.e. how risky it is to move to the cloud, but rather what is the risk if you do not move to the cloud? Do you have increased costs, reduced competitiveness, increased complexity, and actually higher resource strains internally as you try to manage your own environments whilst staying competitive? Now, in that way, actually, it comes down to the four aspects of how you manage risk. The first one being manage or mitigate, i.e. you deal with the risk. The second one being avoiding the risk, i.e. stopping doing the activity that is causing the risk in the first place. Now, you don't want to do that with the cloud potentially. And the third one being transferring the risk, the most common instance being giving it to an insurance company. Now, the fourth one is often the most misunderstood and potentially overused aspect of managing risk, and that's accept. Now, you should not move to the cloud and just simply accept all of the risk therein. However, you should be looking at the risk of that move to the cloud in a different way. As I said, reversing it, thinking about what are the risks of not doing it. Now, accepting the risk is often used within various memes and tropes, etc., as a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. When you move to the cloud, as long as everybody within the leadership and within the business actually understands and is fully cognizant of the risks involved in moving to the cloud, then that business can take a proper decision on whether it should or not be adopted. This is the most important thing about accepting risks. You don't just blindly do it. You don't just hope and pray and cross your fingers that actually it's going to be okay. What you do is understand the risks of doing something, of not doing something, and various situations in between those two extremes, and then make that decision. Only then can you decide whether or not it's a good idea to move to the cloud or stay where you are.